Hey, Derek here at Castaway Studios, and here I am in Studio 2. Okay, this is where I do most of my work, where I record people doing podcasts, radio play, you name it, right? But mostly podcasts, and most people want a video, hence all the cameras and stuff like that. So just a quick one. Today I'm using VMIX multi-cord, so I'm recording through a BirdDog P200 NDI PTZ camera from the front, and I've also got one doing the same thing, but just to show you the microphones. And I'm using a Lumix G95 for the wide shot that I use at the end of the studio, and that runs through the HDMI, runs into a BirdDog Flex Backpack NDI converter that then goes into my system. And so that's how we're getting the pictures, all right? But that's not what we're here for. We're here to look at microphones. So I've just grabbed a bunch, laid them down, and I'll run through them now and quickly, and let's see if this works. It did. So what we have is Exhibit A, and that is a lavalier microphone, or commonly known as a lapel microphone. So that one is part of the Rodelink system, not a super cheap system. There's the price. So that's a Wi-Fi, a wireless system that I use really, really rarely. But if I have to, at least I've got it. If I have to do something outdoors or somewhere where someone's really got to use their hands and you can't have a microphone and the shotgun won't cut it for whatever reason, you can use that. You can see them. You see them on newsreaders and everything. So it's pretty common. So anyway, that's that. And we'll get to that at some stage. They are condensers, and that one is supposedly got a reasonable pattern, cardioid pattern to it, but it is still, they pick up a lot. And when if you're a bit of a noisy mouth breather like me, it really just catches your breath and everything like that. You don't get that you don't have an option to turn away. It captures everything. If you're streaming and everything, I think it's a bit risky. But anyway, so moving along, this beauty, that's my my first microphone there. That's the Rode NT1A, which is a condenser microphone. Grabs everything clearly and beautifully and crisply in the room. I've recorded an audio book with that. If you're on your own and you've got a well-treated room and there's no outside noises, this is a magnificent microphone. But you can't. I learned pretty quickly because I thought, I'll get another one, and I ended up with 3 of them. And then someone, in my early days, and someone booked the studio for 4. And I said, are you kind of raucous? They said, yeah. And I went, this isn't going to cut it, because the mic bleed is incredible because they capture a lot of things. But it really, really nice microphone if you're doing some monologues and stuff. It looks beautiful if you're doing some monologues and things like that in a well-treated room by yourself. It's lovely. It really is. I used it for an audio book, and while it made for great sound, it was all up in the way. No one's memorized an audio book. They're trying to read a script or a manuscript. So not a good idea. So this one, I'd say if you're a voiceover artist, it's a great microphone if you've got a treated room. Let's face it, you know this one, the Shure SM7b. There's the price. Yep, it's a lot. And it's a great microphone. What can I say? Stick around later on. I'm going to plug every one of these in and read a poem one at a time so you can hear. If we're very lucky, I'll make some time codes for you, but otherwise just stick around, will you? So the SM7b is a famous microphone. A previous version was used by Michael Jackson to record the Thriller album. It's like the Joe Rogan-y thing. Like, it's a well-known microphone. Everybody knows the Shure SM7b. And people say, should I get one of those? I say, what are your reasoning? It's got great rejection. So that's a good reason to have it. It obviously sounds warm and beautiful. There's a couple of little settings on the back. I'm not here to review the microphone itself, but if you can afford it and it's not a big deal, if you need 2 microphones but you really want these, so you're only going to get one and do without, silly. You know, there's plenty of other options to get going, like the one I'm on now, for instance. We'll get to that, Rode Procaster, but we'll get to that. It looks great, and you might want prestige. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're launching and you want people to know that you're serious, you mean business, and you got that, that's fine by me. It's your money. So you've got prestige. Do you buy a BMW for prestige only, or you like the engineering or brand loyalty, or it goes faster, or it's more reliable? Whatever. It's great. This is a beautiful little microphone. And as everyone else says, it needs a real lot of gain. So you really do need one of these. Okay? Or a cloud lifter. I use a couple of FET heads around with mine. I have two of these guys, and I'll use it. A one-on-one podcast is really nice because if it's in my other studio, which is quite snug, it's got great rejection and everyone comes out sounding beautifully. That's for sure. So 2 of those equals 2 FET heads, dynamites, cloud lifters, whatever. All right. So look, enough about that for now. You can wait for the poem to see what it sounds like compared to the rest. Don't even know what that thing is. I would have bought that because I wanted it was so cheap. I probably just wanted the shock mount that it came with or something like that. I don't know if I've ever used it, but I'm about to. So you'll hear that in action. I'm going to guess on the price. All right. Look, I would say just don't buy that. Okay. Don't. Stop it. Just in case it goes wrong, or, you don't want to lose. What's worth more? A great recording that goes wrong because a microphone was all dodgy and there was a dodgy connection or whatever. Don't forget it. These little babies, they're so cute. This is the Rode Podmic. Epic. Obviously, if I put it next to, let's go back over here. Obviously, there are some similarities there in the mounting. So Rode have gone genius, right? They've gone, right, everyone's about to start podcasting. This is a couple 2 or 3 years ago. Everyone's about to start podcasting. Let's make a microphone. I reckon they've taken a hit. They could have charged more for these microphones for what they do and their build quality and their general weight and feel and range. I think they thought, let's just make sure everyone buys them, and everyone did, and they're great. I use 4 of these as the standard microphones in my other studio. It's a tight little studio, and there are 4 of these in there, so 4 people can go in there, do a podcast. They're reliable, great little microphones. Love them dearly. Right, so should I buy a Rode Podmic? Well, yeah, if you're going to buy 4 mics and you're going to get going, let's go. The quality is going to be great. I mean, the quality, they've got good rejection. They sound great. I love these little microphones. I use them with these on it. Excuse the noise. I use them in the other studio with one of those on them. You can hear the difference in my voice now that I've taken the pop filter off here. Now, if you can be well disciplined and get this in the right spot, you can tell you get a much clearer sound without the big foamy on there. All right, but because I record other people, I don't. So the foamy goes on, and it keeps me out of trouble in the edit. All right, the Rode Procaster. Let's think about whether you'd want to buy that these days. Yes. Why wouldn't you? It looks great. If you've got a table mount, you've got to be careful you don't overbalance. If you're using a very cheap table mount, just be careful that it's going to balance on there. You'll see in that shot, this guy here, that's a table mount that I have, which has kind of got a good weight to it. And it also, you can adjust it and you can tip it up and down and extend it. So that's a great little table mount. But if you put one of these on the end of that now, it might want to start tipping. You end up with some gaffer tape on your table. So I think that's a really nice option that's probably feels like it's been superseded by the Rode Podmic, but it shouldn't. I think statistically they're probably about the same. Well, there's very little difference, build quality and all these things. But when I come back into this studio, I just feel like I'm getting a bit more out of these guys. Just a little bit more warmth, maybe. Mystical stuff, maybe. All right. To get a handheld microphone, this particular one is a Sennheiser E935. So it's just a very similar to a Shure SM58, right? Which is the legendary, looks a bit like that, right? The legendary stage musician microphone. So this is pretty much a nicer version of that, build-wise and price-wise a bit more as well. So there's lots of different types. There's one, I think it's a 945, which is super cartoid or hyper cartoid or something, which really does a lot of rejection. The reason I don't use that in my studio to record other people is because other people can't be trusted. Sorry, but they can't. So other people will go, if you've got a hyper cartoid or a super cartoid microphone and they get a bit slack and you're the one, you're constantly saying, put the mic back, you will lose their audio completely if they turn their head away. So it does need to really capture a little bit, even if you have to fix it. At least it's not lost forever if it's just a cartoid pattern. So a handheld has got a use, and that's portability. If you're going to podcast elsewhere, there's nothing wrong with using a handheld and a stand and a ball of fluff, right? So that's what I call it anyway. So this is a big one, but you can get slightly smaller ones that suit the SM58, right, will do. And that will keep you, they're designed for wind, but that's good for popping as well. But if you hold one of those under your chin like that and do a podcast, you'll get great rejection and you'll get a great quality podcast if you're on the move somewhere. But if you put it on a desk, then I would definitely recommend a pop filter. Now, just before I move on, there are things like this. Ready? They're very, very cheap. You can look them up on Amazon or whatever, right? And all it is a little shock mount. And I use one because I use this microphone in my production area. So quite often they might want my voice to be on their podcast, just having a bit of input, or if I've just got to do some remote engineering or something like that, then I have this on my desk and I use this guy. So what it does is, what's the best camera? So what it does is just suspend it like that on the rubber bands and stops any desk noises from coming through there. And they also quite often come with this kind of extension plosive filter, which is great because they really do stop it. So you can talk straight into the microphone, and that's a really good option if you have to. Now that's the same setup as I use for the next microphone on my list. So this one, portable, any handheld. I'm not just talking about the Sennheiser 935, but this is a good one. I have a set of these. They live in a case. So if suddenly I've got to go and record someone in a hotel room or something like that, this is what's coming with me, right? Because people can sit in a couch and you can say, just lock it in, hold it there under your chin, and let's go. And you can get that content quickly and easily. All right, so put that down, make a big noise. All right. Compared to the rest, it's a pretty unassuming sort of boring looking stick, but this is the king of kings. This is the MKH 416 from Sennheiser. Okay, so this is what generally lives in this case, one of these. So I keep it in there so that it doesn't capture desk bangs and noises and sounds. So it lives in that little cheap rubber band thing. It does come with one of these, which is a windsock, but to get even better super pro sound. So you've got it like that. So this is known as a shotgun microphone, and this is a really, really good one. There's the price. It gives you an idea. in the red wine pricing stakes. Okay, so this is great for voiceovers, and it is super, super great. You don't want to be in a treated room because it will capture a lot of sound. It's definitely a condenser microphone, but its sort of pattern is straight ahead. That's why it's called a shotgun microphone. They're used for films. So it's generally designed to be out of shot. So I'd be sitting here talking and it'd be capturing. But if you use it nice and close, you get a really beautiful warm sound. It just captures everything. Love this guy, but it's a lot of money. And so if you use a pop filter with it, what I use it for is audiobooks, so that this can be pointing at the person's mouth and I'm not constantly guiding them while they're reading different parts of the script, constantly guiding them to try and get back on the microphone. It's not like that. They're not engaging with someone else. They're engaging with a script or a book. And if you think about it, a script or a book, their eyes could be here at the top of the page and here at the bottom. And if you've got a microphone here, that can be a big difference. So I love this guy. This is my audiobook recorder. I'd love to try having 4 of these and record a podcast where they're, down here or something, like pointing up at people or whatever, but I can't afford 4 of these. That's for sure. So there it is, the King of Kings for audiobooks. So I just have the one, and I use it for voiceovers, audiobooks, and things like that. I think you want to have a treated room because it will pick up whatever's happening behind you, or a truck that's way over there. Like, it will pick up, but it doesn't pick up from behind. And the science of how they reject is phenomenal. Another day. All right. Now, the last one on my little list here may surprise you a little bit. So what this is an Audio Technica. I'm going to read it. AT, because I've got the old version as well. ATR 2100X USB microphone. All right. It's disappointing. I'm not reviewing, right? Disappointingly looks a bit like a cheap kid's microphone on the top. Just the color of the aluminium just looks a bit crap, but don't be fooled. I reckon in the last couple of years from the COVID thing, this has probably been the perfect microphone for about 60% or more of clients that have inquired with me, what should I get? And here's why. They're asking for a USB microphone, right? It's not really my world, right? I own 8 of these because I send them to people. Go, all right, I got my client in Sydney. We need them to, do a Zoom call or Riverside or one of the remote type recordings or VMIX call. We need them there. We want a good quality. This is what I send, right? And here's why. I love these because they can use, look at that, a normal XLR. So you can use it as a normal microphone into a portable recorder or whatever, or into your mixing desk. But it's a USB-C. Okay, so it's a USB-C cable goes in and you can put your headphones in there. So I have a little kit with some Audio Technica M20X or M40X headphones that I put in the kit with one of these and all the cables and whatnot. And it comes with a little tiny mic stand. This is the old version, but a little thing like that, right? And the classic clip, right? So it comes with that, but I always send the desk stand because to make these really work with a podcast, you can't have it down on the desk sitting there like that. You want to have it there. And if you can get one of these there, you're going to get better audio than any of these, right? You'll get better sound from any of these with this held here compared to if you use these ones badly. All right, yeah, all right, there's a trick there. This is pretty cheap, have a look, and available quite commonly, right? But if you hold it right, it captures really, really nice audio. If you have a microphone that's twice as much, or a Blue Yeti or some fancy condenser microphone, that's not a condenser microphone. This is a dynamic, which means it's rejecting, the trucks going past mostly, and the cat's meowing and all the noises and the echo of the room. Get it up here, get the gain right, take a bit of care, and this guy will do a great job. That's for sure. If that's what you need. If you need to get a microphone to someone, or you need to do something at home, or have a temporary one, or your budget's low, I'd much rather you had that than a condenser one that sat on your desk and captured the whole sounds of your entire neighborhood. All right, pretty passionate about that. So these are the ones that I choose to send to people to be guests. Of course, if you were doing it every day, that wouldn't be your choice. But if you had one of those to get started, to see if you like it or whatever, it's a pretty good choice, because then it's in your kit to use as a USB microphone, or to add it to, a proper stand, put it in a shock mount, the same way as I was saying I use the Sennheiser 935. I just use this at my desk because it's small, out of the way. If I need a microphone, I know I'm going to get the quality. And this, to some extent, the same goes for this guy. So that gives you an idea of the microphones and what I use them for. So summing up, I use the Podmic in Studio One. I use the Shure SM7b in whatever studio I have either one or two people doing a podcast style or remote or vlog or vlog or whatever. So I'll use that in the same circumstances I use this or the Podmic. But because there are 4 of these and 4 Podmics, that's what lives at the desk. These only come out for special occasions. So someone can't just come in and use the boss of bosses, unless they've booked it. Okay, so it'd be nice to have some more of those. That'd be great. I would, if I was maybe not if I was a millionaire, wouldn't come to work. But if Shure sent me 8 of those, I'm sure that I'd have 4 in each studio, and that'd be fine. But these are great. There's nothing wrong with them. It's not. I'm not being tight and not getting the quality. These are at least way over the quality that I actually need in my studio, because the rooms are treated. The equipment's great. The plugins for repair are there. The editing software and the skills, they're all there to make sure that this guy and this guy and this guy, even this guy, maybe not this guy, we'll find out, would be way over and above what's needed for the quality for really good content. There you go. So that's the microphones that I have at the moment, and stick by for part 2, which I may tag on here. I might make it another video. So jump on the next video where I just run through, I'll read one of my favorite poems on all the different microphones in a row. All right. And maybe I'll blend it into this, maybe I won't. But there you go. That's a bit of a rundown on the microphones I have knocking around here and what might be right for you. The main thing is, feel free to hit me up. That's the point. Ask me. Don't just watch a video and expect all my information. You can jump on and say, this is my circumstances. It's what I do every day. These are my circumstances. What do you think's the best microphone? And I'll go, are you rich for a start? Right? If you're not, are you struggling? If you're having trouble feeding your kids, then I'm not going to say, you've really got to get one of these guys. They're great. That would be stupid. All right. But what we do is we get the best we can for our budget, and we make sure we don't get a microphone that's ill-suited, that's going to not work well in a noisy circumstance and things like that. So feel free to ask. That's the whole point. This is a start. All right. Catch ya.